Okay, so this lesson is on volume of prisms and cylinders. Okay, so what is volume? Volume is the amount of three-dimensional space an object occupies. In other words, how many little unit cubes fit into a shape. So how many little cubes fit inside a shape? And so our units will be in cubic units. And today we're going to talk about finding the volume of prisms and cylinders. Okay, so to find the volume of a prism or a cylinder, you just take the area of the base and multiply it by the height. Okay, and you can see that down here. Whatever the shape of the base is, find the area of that and then multiply by the height. Now here, you'll notice it says, pi r squared. That's just the area of a circle. So base times height still. Okay, and then just remember that the base of a shape is not always on the bottom. So that's just something to keep in mind as we go through these. All right. Okay, find the volume of each prism. So the first one that I have here is a rectangular prism, and I want to just think about, okay, my formula is volume equals area of the base times the height. So I'm just going to find the area of the base. 9 times 17. I get 153. So the volume is going to be 153, the area of the base, times the height, which in this case is 24. So take that times 24, we get 3,672 cubic centimeters. Remember, again, volume, we're doing how much space is inside this shape, cubic units. Okay, that's it for that one. This is a triangular prism that's been tipped on its side. So let's find the area of the base. So the base is a triangle. So we're going to go 1/2 times 11 times 5.4. Okay, so if we do that, that would be 29.7. Okay, so volume, it's going to be 29.7 times the height, which the height would be, in this case, 16. Okay, so let's type that into our calculators. I got 475.2. And this would be cubic millimeters. Okay, so we just found the volume of a couple of prisms. All right, and cylinders are the same formula, the area of the base times the height. And remember, for a cylinder, the base is a circle, so pi r squared. Okay, so let's do the base of this one would be pi times 18 squared. And so that's going to give me 324 pi. Now I'm not going to simplify that and type that. I'm just going to leave that because I'm going to take that number and I'm going to multiply it by the height. So really, my volume is equal to 324 pi times 15. So it should be a pretty large number. Let's take a look. I'm going to do some calculator work here. And I got 15,268.14. And then again, this is cubic units, so cubic inches in this particular case. All right. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, well, the first thing I notice is, hey, I need the radius. The radius is going to be half of 11, so that is 5.5. Okay. So my base is going to be pi times 5.5 squared. So that's 30.25 pi. Okay, now I'm just going to multiply that by 21. So and I get, if I do that, I got 1,995.7 cubic meters. Okay, so hopefully that makes some sense to you. That's how you find the volume of a prism in a cylinder. Let's look at some composite solids and talk about those. So when you do the volume of these, it's best to just kind of break these apart. So I would probably say I'm going to look at this prism first and then this one. So if I look at that little piece that's up, I know all the way across is 10, and then there's 2 centimeters right here. So I know that this is 2. This is going to be from here to here is 8. Okay. Now, it's 2. This is 6. And this distance is 2, so that makes this 4. So just trying to figure out, okay, what am I dealing with? All right, let's do that one on the left. So, okay, the base, I'll just do the one on the left. So that's a prism with a base of 2 by 4. And then the height is 6. So the volume is going to be 8 times 6, or 48. Okay, so that's that piece. All right, now let's take a look at the other part. Okay, this piece right here. So I have the base of that one, this is the one on the right, is 4 by 8. It's just 32. I'm going to multiply that by, volume is going to be 32 times, the height of that is 2, so 64. Okay, so that is the other piece. Now, if I add those two together, that gives me, what, 112 cubic centimeters. That is my answer for that composite solid. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's take a look at this other one. Okay, so I'm gonna erase this so I just have a little bit more room. The one on the right is a solid that has a hole drilled out of it, and that hole is a rectangular prism. So for this, we want to find the area of the big cube, right, first. And then we're going to find the area of the prism that's in the inside and then subtract that. So let's do the bigger one. Or the outside, if you want to think about it that way. Probably makes that the volume of that is going to be the area of the base, which would be 8 times 4, right? The base is this, so that's 32 times the height, 5. So 32 times 5 is 160. Okay, so we got that. Now let's do the smaller one on the inside. Okay, so the volume of that, well, it looks like it's a 1/4 on the inside, so that's 4, and then the height is still 5. Okay, so the volume of that is 20. So what do we have left? Well, we're just going to go 160 minus the hole that's there, so that's 20. And that leaves me with 140 in that cubic feet. And that is the volume of the remaining shape. All right, so hopefully this all makes sense. Finding the volume of prisms and cylinders. Go ahead and do that assignment, and then don't forget to write it in your planner. All right, good luck. Bye.